All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Kelvin. Welcome back to Kelvechio. And in today's video, we're going to be looking at I want to say reaction online, but more so, want to get your thoughts on Arsenal versus Sporting. Um, of course, we know this victory came off the back of losing two games in a row. Right, we lost against Man City in the Carabao Cup, and we also lost against Southampton in the FA Cup. So the question was, right, everyone was paying a lot of attention to Arsenal. How do they respond? Because we needed a response. Should the response be the performance? Should it be the results or both? Right? I think the team did respond today. It wasn't a great performance, but it doesn't matter. We got the job done. We got the victory, right? Again, huge thanks to Kai Havertz. This guy steps up in big games, shows his pedigree. If only he was clinical and scored more consistently, he would definitely be up there with one of the best players in the world. But of course, Kai Havertz is not a clinical striker or finisher. We've seen him over the last few years, especially for Arsenal, miss so many big chances, right? Even easier chances than the one he scored tonight. But it's Kai Havertz. So we love him. We take the good with the bad, but just want to big up the team, congratulate the team. They were excellent on the day because this type of performance is literally how you win the Champions League. Right? We've seen Chelsea do it. We've seen worse teams than Arsenal do it and win the Champions League. This is how you do it: grinding out results, being disciplined on the road, getting a 1-0, shutting up the shop, getting a clean sheet. Your keeper having a really good game, right? And you nick the victory in the last quarter of the game. And for us, it was the last few minutes and you win the game, right? And then you take it back to your stadium, which also shows the importance of us going undefeated. In fact, we won every single league phase game, right? And we finished top of the table. And get this, guys, Arsenal have not lost a game in the Champions League this season, right? We've won every single game except one where we drew in the last round against Leverkusen. Pretty impressive stuff. And this is what Mikel has been saying in his interviews. Context, zoom out. Like, yeah, we lost, we got knocked out, right? Especially against City. That was a painful watch because I believe head to head, City is a better team. No doubt about it, right? They've been inconsistent because they have new players, and we've been more consistent with our results. But City is a better team. They play better football, better coach, in many positions, better players. I mean, most positions, maybe apart from Declan Rice and Rodri, that's a pretty close one. But City is a better team, right? But we are more consistent. So let's look at the game. I just want to kind of touch on the game. I don't know if you got a chance to watch it. If you didn't, I think it's a game you could go back and watch. The first half was really boring, really slow, really tepid, and of course, this characterizes our performances this season, especially when Martin Odegaard plays. His passes are backwards, sideways, backwards, very little risk, very conservative, very safe, and it's painful to watch because he cannot beat his man, and he relies on his wingers to do it, and he's just yeah. I honestly, I mean, I've seen Odegaard for the last few years. There's been a dip in form, especially the last 2 years, especially. And I think we can all admit that Odegaard needs to go. We need an improvement, an upgrade on Odegaard's position, which is why they probably bought it Eze. So I think in a few years coming, Eze and Dauman and probably Noneri will be fighting for that number 10 position, right? But I do see us phasing out Odegaard over time. The captaincy will either go to Declan Rice, Bukayo Saka, or Gabriel Magalhaes. But this team has gone past the stage of Odegaard, in my opinion. He doesn't impact the game. He struggles when the games are physical, especially in the Premier League. He's been at fault for so many goals. And he doesn't really give us anything going forward apart from organization and the high press. But still, I mean, we doing without Odegaard, we actually play better without Odegaard in the team. We're more fluid, more unpredictable as well with Eze and the type of goals that he scores. And Odegaard is just Yeah, like I want to be positive. I don't want to just be negative about Odegaard, right? So let's talk about the game. Let's talk about Havertz and Martinelli because that really was the moment of the game, right? Arteta is famous for saying the finishers come on to impact the game, and that's what happened today, right? Martinelli came on for Trossard, who again had a really poor game. Trossard has not been himself recently. We do need an upgrade on the left hand side. I would bring in a really top player on the left hand side, someone more established, someone who can really bang in the goals to take the pressure off Saka because Saka, his form has been pretty terrible as well. And I think it's because he's taking on too many shots. He's really trying to force the issue as opposed to giving a more assist. And that's what I've seen with Saka in the last few weeks. Because he's become more selfish, I think because he's signed a new contract, he tries to make things happen that aren't there, right? So as opposed to being a guy who played for the well-being of the entire team and making those passes and being the assist guy, right? Saka was always his main thing was assist, and then of course he added the goals to his game, but now he's really trying to be the star boy, the main guy, and I think it's got into his head, and he takes a lot of shots that he shouldn't be taking, and he's just not looking good, right? So Saka needs to get the pressure off him a bit. So if someone on the left side could really bring in the numbers in terms of goals and assists, I think that's going to allow Saka to improve his game as well, right? So we do need an upgrade on the left hand side, especially for next season. I don't think it's going to happen. Any change is going to happen right now. Madueke has been tried on the left side. It's not his best position, right? He struggles there. And like Trossard, I think we're getting a few years out of him, but Trossard is not the answer. Martinelli has proven he's not the answer because he doesn't produce consistently. And I think when he is the main guy, he does not deliver under pressure, right? Martinelli is more of an impact play, in my opinion. He comes off the bench. He gives you like a Solskjaer moment. He gives you some really good quality, but he doesn't produce for 90 minutes, right? So that's the thing with Martinelli. All right. But we have to give Martinelli credit today as well because he did cut in. He found the pocket, found the space, made a turn, did a driving run, and then he chipped the ball over for Kai Havertz. A great pass. Kai Havertz barely stayed on side, but he did. He had a really good first control, and then he smashed the ball in with his left foot. Now, I was honestly not expecting Havertz to score because we've seen Havertz with those type of chances, right? And literally just hit the keeper or hit the post. That's Havertz for you, right? But today he delivered, and Havertz does seem to deliver on the big moments, on the big stage. Champions League nights, the big games, and we know famously he won the Champions League for Chelsea when he came in and he scored that only goal. So we know that Havertz has it in him, right? He's capable, and I think what works well for Havertz is when Gyökeres is still on the pitch, right? Because that again, he attracts attention, he pulls defenders. It then creates more space for Havertz to shine, and then he does well. So I think Havertz in that 10 role, in that pocket right behind the striker, really playing in the Odegaard position, but more advanced, almost like a front two. Not quite on the same level as Gyökeres in terms of striking, but I think it works really well. And credit to Arteta for not pulling Gyökeres off. Jesus, who has when he's come on, has not delivered. I think we get rid of Jesus in the summer, right? So there's several players I believe that are on the chopping block and are playing for the Arsenal career right now. I would also put Calafiore in that list as well because Hincapie has really showed him how to play that position. And then you have Mosquera who can be a backup. But Calafiore, in my opinion, is playing for his Arsenal jersey, his Arsenal career. Odegaard is one. Jesus is probably be gone as well. Trossard. So you have 4 or 5 players who are in and around the team, but I don't expect to see them in an Arsenal shirt next year, right? Now, when we analyze this game, of course, we know the big issue was what happened against Southampton, right? Why did we lose against Southampton? And we could. I mean, it's just obvious in my opinion. It wasn't a big deal because when I looked at the team that played and the result against Southampton, it made sense because we didn't have Rice. Zubermendi played a few minutes in the second half. Odegaard was just coming back. He looked so out of form. I mean, again, he's doesn't know how to shoot, doesn't know how to pass. Didn't expect much from Odegaard, in my opinion. Not the captain, right? And Saliba didn't start that game. Trossard was out, Saka was out. So we literally had 5 or 6 starters that didn't play. And I don't think this Arsenal team is good enough, right, to win tough games without their best players. That's just my opinion. We need at least 80 to 90% of our team in order to compete on the highest level. Because the second team, Madueke is not good enough to carry us. Uh, Norga doesn't do. I mean, he's a very good player, but he's not a special player. And in a lot of games, we need special quality, especially up front. And I think that is where we're lacking, which is why I believe Arteta has stuck to the DNA of set pieces, being physical, trying to win 1-0, and relying on our defense because our defenders and goalkeeper, especially in the middle of the park in defensive midfield with Declan Rice, they are our best players. The star players in this Arsenal team are literally the defenders, right? Defensive midfielders and the goalkeeper, right? So it makes sense. So that's why Arteta then relies on those guys to see the game through, to win us a game. Because more often than not, if you get a clean sheet, you are going to win the game, right? So Arteta then relies on what our strengths are, which is defending. But going forward, we do not have any star quality, right? We don't have star power. We don't have, Lamine Yamal and Olise and Luis Diaz and Salah in his prime. And I mean, if you were to put the team of the year, or team of the season together, how many of Arsenal's attackers would make it into that team in either in the Premier League or the Champions League? I guarantee you, almost none. Right? Saka has really been poor in this season. Gyökeres is an okay player, but he's not a star striker. He doesn't come close to any of the elite strikers like Kane or Lewandowski. So he's not, or Mbappe. He's not even in the same argument, right? On the left hand side, Martinelli doesn't come close to Vini Jr. or to Luis Diaz, in my opinion. And could it be because they're playing very defensive and Arteta requires that they track back and there's a lot more work for the Arsenal wingers? Yes, possibly. But when they do get the chance, right, and they are, facing their defenders one on one, 1v1, our guys don't do it. They do not produce, and I honestly believe it's a lack of quality because we do not have elite attackers in our team. Right. When I say elite, meaning that you could change a game by yourself, you can create something, or we don't. They may get there eventually, but right now they're not. And Max Dowman really proves this point because when he comes in, 16-year-old, right? Look at the game against Southampton. Every time he comes in, he just looks like a star player because he has an X factor about him, which the other guys don't, right? So this game again, context is important. This game was played in the context of us losing against Southampton, getting knocked out by Southampton. And if you compare this performance versus a performance versus Southampton, big difference. Big difference. Why? Because in the game against Southampton, we needed to show more urgency. We needed to show that, hey, if we lose it, we're out, which is, exactly the point of the FA Cup. But against Southampton, guys, just go back and look at the replay. We were slow, really static. There was no urgency. There was no creativity. And for me, a big part of the reason that happened is because Odegaard played as our creative player. We didn't have Declan Rice. We didn't have Zubimendi. We lacked creativity in the entire game because Madueke is hit or miss, right? And he's very direct, but that's about it. Martinelli, of course, we know is limited in his ability to produce. And Odegaard struggled. Odegaard had a chance in the box where he could have scored. We were just poor, right? But I just contrast this performance today because especially when Odegaard was removed in the second half, you could see our team changed, right? The entire dynamic changed because rather than just simply passing the ball backwards or sideways, there was more direct passes. They were like kind of creating playing the ball more forward on the half turn, and guys were turning, facing the defenders. So credit to Arteta for making that change because when Havertz came on and Martinelli came on, the game completely flipped, in my opinion. So we were good money for the win because of the changes that were made in the second half, right? And like I said, as opposed to the game against Southampton, where we literally just collapsed, right? From poor defending and just not being able to retain the ball. In this game, we managed the occasion, we managed the game, a lot more difficult game because Sporting are better quality going forward. But we were able to take the sting out of the game, control the game, right? Which is Arteta ball. It's a bit boring and hard to watch, but it's effective, right? And that's really what matters. And again, like I said, this is how you win the Champions League, not by playing basketball, right? This is soccer, this is football, this is tactics, this is high IQ football, and this is Arteta ball to the key. Right. So let's transition now and talk about Arteta's tactics, right? Because I think I agree with I agree with 90% of the team that he put out there. I would have loved to see Lewis Kelly given a chance at left back because I think him being more mobile would have probably done better in that position. But I think he probably Arteta saw that he needed a rest because he did start the game against Southampton and he did okay. But I think he probably would have done a better job against rather than Calafiori because Calafiori, in my opinion, looks like a fish out of water when he plays left back. He's effective, but he's not his natural position, and he doesn't look great. There are times he lunges, and I'm like, are you even Italian, right? The time he lunges, the time he tries to win the ball, and just he doesn't look great. He doesn't look natural as a left back. And again, this is probably part of the refinement and growth that Arteta is going to mold him into a better player. We will see, right? But I think Lewis Kelly probably deserved a shout. I think he would have done a better job in that position. And that's probably the only change I would have made. I would have loved to see Norgard get some minutes as well for Zubamendi because, in my opinion, in this structure and this team, the way we play, Zubamendi doesn't really give you much going forward. And I think Norgard can pretty much match the job that Zubi does. So right now, I don't really fancy Zubamendi. I think he's just like a luxury player, especially when he plays next to Rice because Rice plays a six as well as an eight. And when we are in defensive mode, Rice literally just sits, right? And he plays at six and he does the job. So Zuberman is like extra cover, which I don't think we need a lot of the times. He does go to the wing at times, especially Ben White or one of Ben White on the right hand side goes forward, and there's a gap, and we need defensive cover. Zubi will come back and cover that space, but more often than not, not Rice, White, Ben White will sit and cover the space, and he doesn't get caught out too often. So yeah, so that's my take on the tactics. I think we had it pretty much spot on. The team, I would have kept the same team, very effective, and we have a proven blueprint. And what's impressive about the way in which we play right now, especially in Europe, is that it doesn't really matter who plays, right? We know exactly what we need to do. We are professional and we carry out that job and we do it really, really well, right? I remember earlier on in the campaign, you had guys like Marino coming in. Marino played the 10, he played striker. It didn't matter because we literally just play to a system and the guys know the system really well and they're very effective at it and it works, right? And this is credit to Arteta. But the big takeaway from me from today was David Raya, right? I must say, David Raya has really stepped up and he's shown that there are different levels that he can get to. And in my opinion, every time I look at him not starting for Spain and the way he's treated, this guy deserves more respect. He is one of the top three goalkeepers in the world at the moment, right? When you put Courtois in there and Donnarumma, I would put David Raya as number three right now. And it used to be Allison, but Allison, of course, is getting older. He's dropped off in his form. David Raya gives you more from his passing to his incredible saves to just his overall leadership in the backline as well. Big moments, big presence, fingertip saves. David Raya is the guy right now, right? I don't think he's better than Courtois. I don't think he's better than Donnarumma. But when it comes to important moments right now, saving his team, he is one of the best keeper, if not the best keeper in the world right now, just based on performances for this season. Not compared to last year and the last few years, but just this season, he is the guy, right? He has kept us in so many games, right? The backline obviously trust him. And the big deal is, why is this so important? Is because Arsenal lost against Man City, in my opinion, primarily because of the goalkeeper. Yeah, we didn't play great, but if David Raya played in that final against Man City, I believe it would have gone to penalties, right? And we could have won that game. Same thing with Southampton. If David Raya had played that game, there were a couple of goals. One of the goals in particular that beat Kepa that David Raya would have saved. He's that important. He is a match saver, in my opinion. And that is why, like I said, when I started this video, I believe that Arteta, not literally, but almost threw away the FA Cup. He prioritized the Champions League and the Premier League and said, okay, guys, we have to get rid of one of those competitions or let's just see what happens. But in my opinion, it was like throwing away the FA Cup by not starting David Raya, by not risking some of the other starters, right? By not even having Rice in the squad at all. No Trossard, no Saka, who we know is injured. He just said, okay, he doesn't really care too much about the FA Cup, right? And that's a big call to make, right? But that's literally what happened in my opinion. So let's put this performance in context, like I said, because this performance today was not just about beating Sporting in Lisbon. It was about building momentum, building back belief, and getting ready for the running in the Premier League because it's all about the Premier League, right? I think most fans would agree that we would take the Premier League over the Champions League because you want to be the domestic champion in your league. And we haven't won the Premier League in almost, what, 24 years, 22 years, something crazy like that, right? It gives you the bragging rights to say that you're the best team in England. And I would take the Premier League, even though we've never won the Champions League. I would take the Premier League because it's been so long, right? I cannot. I don't know how we can survive if we bottle the league again. And yes, I said bottle because we have bottled the league for the last few years when we were supposed to win. And because of injury, the lack of investment, the lack of proper squad rotation, bad decisions, and just indiscipline last season, especially with all these yellow cards and red cards, we bottled the league so many times in the past. This has to be our year, right? We have to prove people like Patrice Evra wrong, who says Arsenal is like Netflix FC next season, next season. Guys, if we don't win the Premier League, it's a complete disaster, in my opinion. The season is a waste, even though we win the Champions League, right? Which is some form of compensation. But I believe the goal has to be the Premier League, right? And then you want to build upon that because you are champions of England. You can bring in some more quality in the squad, especially from an attacking perspective. Bring in higher quality attackers, some superstar. We need some superstar dust who can then take us to the next level, and then we can match the likes of PSG, Bayern Munich, and really be one of the best teams in Europe going forward. Because right now, we are not the best team in Europe, especially from an attacking perspective. And the neutral, they don't want to see Arsenal win because we don't play the best brand of football. We don't entertain, right? Is it right or wrong? I don't really care. I'm an Arsenal fan and I want to see us win, and I want to see us playing good football as well. So let's wrap up this video, guys. We'd love to know what you think, what your thoughts are on the game. Like I said, overall good performance. Um, I saw improvements in terms of our ability to create chances, even though it was limited. Not that many chances, not the most exciting game. Yes, I get it, especially when you compare Real Madrid versus Bayern Munich. And then when we look at Liverpool, PSG tomorrow, and Barcelona, yeah, we are not the most entertaining brand of football, right? But there was an improvement versus what we saw against Southampton, right? What we saw against Man City. I think there was an emphasis in trying to go forward, play more direct, create some more stuff. And of course, we are missing guys like Eze. Eze brings an X factor, that unpredictability. He can score goals that Odegaard will never score, right? So Eze is a big factor that's missing. But I did see an improvement in terms of the intentionality, right? Having the intention was clear. Having more energy, more urgency in our forward play, especially when the subs came on, or according to Arteta, the finishers came on. I saw us trying things, trying passes. Um, Another big thing that we're lacking is our the left back and the right back. I mean, they offered literally nothing going forward, but again, that's kind of this the blueprint. When we play away from home in the Champions League, we are more conservative. The guys kind of stay back. Ben White didn't offer anything going forward. Calafiori, Kane was limited in his attacking play, but that's to be expected, right? So this is Arteta ball, guys. This is literally how Arteta likes to play. It's not classic Arsenal. It's not vintage Arsenal. It's probably more like 1-0 to the Arsenal, those kind of vintage performances. It's not entertaining. It's not creative. It's not exciting to watch. I mean, but it's effective, right? And you've probably heard me say that in videos in the past that I don't really care, if we win. That's all I care. That we get the results, we win, we move on, and then the performances and the improvements will come at a later stage. I believe that. I believe if we win, then the style and the confidence and the flair and all of those things will come, right? But success breeds success. So let's get the result done. Let's win on the road. Let's win and progress. And I think we can be a good matchup for Barcelona. I believe that is we've already shown that we can beat Atletico Madrid. So I'm already looking forward to the semi-final. I think if we play Barcelona, we'll do a lot better job than Newcastle did because they were just so naive in the approach, right? You don't want to you don't want to really tempt Barcelona with that style of play. So we can contain Barcelona a lot better, especially if we get Jurian Timber back. I think he's a fantastic player. Whichever wing he plays on, he can lock down um, Lamine Yamal. If we get Hincapie back, so that back four of Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, Magalhaes, and Hincapie, best back four in the world right now. No doubt. Plus having David Raya behind him. Come on, guys, it's game over, right? We've already shown we can beat Bayern Munich, right? With that defense and that setup and Declan Rice in the front, and then we have the pace of Martinelli who can break. We have Saka if he's close back to being his best, and then we have Gyökeres running the channels. This is a winning team. This is how you win the Champions League. Playing to your strengths, right? Being able to absorb pressure, then break quickly, and Arsenal can do this, especially if we have Kai Havertz back playing his best football. He links up really well with Gyökeres. He set up that goal on the weekend against Southampton. Guys, we can do this. We can win the Champions League, right? But my big thing is this victory against Sporting today is a platform. It gives us momentum to then go ahead, get the fans back on board, get the fans in full voice, right? And then get that momentum to then go beat Bournemouth on Saturday and then win the Premier League. When we win the Premier League, we have that in the bag. Success breeds success. In my opinion, this team goes from strength to strength. We not only win it this year, especially with Pep gone in the next year or two, we win it the next year and we go on to dominate, right? We do what City has done, a winning team, but then we add, really good players that complement the side. Whatever we're missing, like a Semenyo type player, we add really good, high quality players into the team. You make small adjustments because you have a winning team already. Most of the guys are really young, and then you bring in extra talent that just takes us to the next level, and we can go on to create a dynasty, right? And Arteta will go down as the greatest manager to manage Arsenal Premier League, Arsenal Football Club. If he allows us to dominate, to win the Champions League and win the Premier League back to back, he can win more than Arsene Wenger did, right? And he can go on to become the greatest manager at Arsenal because of this winning mindset and this winning culture that he has created. No, I've said a lot. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Love to hear your comments. Like I said, I'm excited. I'm pumped. But this to me is not a reason to jump up and be too excited about. It's a reason to say, okay, we've checked that box. We've built momentum. Now let's use this momentum to go on and beat Bournemouth because it is about the bigger picture. It is about the Premier League, and looking forward to the semi-finals, in my opinion, of the Champions League. So, guys, this has been my thoughts on the game, my reaction. Would love to know your thoughts. You agree, disagree? Would love to hear what you think as well. And until next time, bye for now. Oh, by the way, don't forget to like the video if you like it, subscribe to the channel, and give us a like. It helps us get the video out there. So until next one, bye for now.